No, what you do to me, between me and you, I feel a chemistry. I won't let no one come and take your place, cause the love you give. So first, I'm gonna start off with my, I'm just showing you the products here, which is included in the products list. And I set my brows off camera with the Laura Mercier powder, so that's why they look like that. So I'm gonna first begin by brushing my brows upward and out. Not down, upward and out. And this is just gonna put the hairs in place. I'm gonna wind up my little pencil and I'm gonna start underlining my brow. So as you can tell, I'm not starting from the front. I'm starting from like the middle, kind of where my arch is, and then I'm going back to the front. So you start middle, back, front. And this is to prevent like any harsh lines in the beginning of your brow, because we don't want like boxy looking brows. So to prevent that, we're gonna start in the middle, and then work our way to the front, so that way the front has lighter strokes. And kind of the same thing for the top brow. The top brow is vital because we're outlining and we're making our brows meet at the end. So you also don't want like a super long tail, unless that's your natural brow shape. So just kind of follow your natural brow shape, and your brow bone at the top is always going to guide you if you don't have like, a lot of brow hair. Also remember, brows are sisters, not twins, so they're not going to look the exact same. I feel like my brows are two different shapes, so just outline them the way to your liking, of course, and just be careful of any harsh lines. So now that I'm done with the shading, and I'm going to go in and spoolie and push the product to the front. This helps give kind of like a fade-in effect and a more natural effect overall. With the amount of product that you use on your brows, you need to spoolie it out and just kind of even everything out so that it doesn't just look like you just pack product on your face and your brows. It's kind of like blending, like how we blend concealer on our face. It's kind of like that before our brows. And I'm blending in an upward motion just to give everything, like I said, an even out effect. So now I'm going to start with my concealer, and I'm putting the concealer on the back of my hand just to warm it up. I just feel it helps a little, definitely with blending. So I'm going to take my concealer brush and start carving out my brow at the bottom. So with carving out your brow, it really just depends on what works for you. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not consistent on where I start. Sometimes I start in the middle, sometimes I start at the front. It just depends on the look I'm going for. But the most important thing about carving out your brow is that you're dragging the concealer downward. And if we're wearing any type of eyeshadow, then this is gonna serve as a base for that. So as you can see, I'm like carving it out and then dragging it down. And you'll see that on the other side as well. So then I'm going back and just blending it out a little bit more. Of course, you blend to your liking. Some people like a really light concealer underneath their brow. I like a little bit more natural, but it's to your liking. And if you feel that you can't blend it out properly with just a concealer brush, then you can always use like a beauty blender. Starting on the other brow, I'm starting at the front with very light strokes of the concealer and just working my way to the back. Now, as you can see, I didn't pick up enough concealer, so I'm putting more, and then I'm going to go in with a downward motion. That's going to push the concealer that I applied down, and it's not going to give me any streaky looks because we just don't want that. That does not look good.
So as I'm coming to the end of my blending, I like to use my finger just to clean up any mistakes that I may have made. It's just a little bit easier to me, but of course you can use what you like. So starting at the top of the brow, I find that you find a point, and then you drag. So it's kind of like starting up a car, like... Okay, that was a bad example. But you find a point that you want to start the concealer at, and then you drag it nonstop. I find that easiest. It gives a continuous look, and it'll be way easier to blend. So you can probably see what I mean better on this side. So as you can see, I started at the front, and I'm kind of like revving up my engine here. And then I'm going to eventually drag it nonstop, and this is going to give just a continuous streak of concealer. Once the concealer is blended at the top and the bottom, you're just about done with your brows. It depends on the look you're going for. If you're doing a makeup look, which I am, so I'm leaving my brows looking a little bit crazy because I'm gonna put on eyeshadow, you're just about done. If you're not, then you blend it out to your best liking, of course. And I mean, that's about it. As always, it takes practice and time, but I'm glad you guys joined me today. Thank you for watching.